Shortcuts on the field, defenders they shiver. Goalkeepers nervous, strikers they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. 80. We never lose, and losing and lose. We never lose, and losing and lose. We never lose, and losing and lose. Shortcuts on the field, defenders they shiver. Goalkeepers nervous, strikers they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. 80,000 voices.
Hello, you're welcome to the channel. So in this video, we're talking about, of course, top Nigerian talents. Some I've talked about before on the channel, some I've not talked about on the channel. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel, don't go anywhere. But before I go into that, I'll just quickly talk about, the draws, the team Nigeria is going to face in the semi-finals, and that is South Africa. They defeated DRC Congo 1-0 at a time, extra time, after regulations ended 0-0. So face South Africa again. Usually, like I said, I'm usually very confident, going into any game versus South Africa. But the way this team is presently set up, put together, and in addition to how the manager has, or the head coach has set them up throughout this tournament, I have not been all too confident about, about any fixture, and especially this fixture coming up against South Africa. But the good part is Nigeria has already qualified for the semi-finals. Qualified for the World Cup via qualifying for the semi-finals. So let's see what happens going into this game. And one thing that I've been always complaining about, or at least I have complained about all through this competition, is the quality of players on there. You have one or two that are good, like your Arieri Parabo that's on there that is very good, but the rest not too impressive. I've complained about the quality of the players. So in today's video, I'll be talking about some outstanding talents, all over the world, not just in Nigerian grassroots, but in Europe as well. And so this is very important for me, because I think Nigeria's future is bright, the talent pool is deep. It's just that the NFF, Nigerian Football Federation, the National Sports Commission in Nigeria, I don't think are doing quite enough to, get these players, on board. Now, first off, the first one I'll be talking about, we all know him. He plays in the under-20 tournament, in the under-20 AFCON currently going on in Egypt, and he scored 1 goal so far. For me, I've been impressed by his overall play. His name is Arieri Parabo. For me, I have been impressed by his overall play. The team hasn't really been built to serve him as a striker. You see him dropping deep, to get the ball off midfielders, to get the ball off defenders and combine with midfielders, which is a good thing in one aspect, in one regard. It's a good thing because sometimes you don't want your striker to just be, lazing about in the box, just hoping and praying that balls get to him and not being involved in the play, not being involved in build-up, not being involved, in other aspects of the game. But as well, you want your striker to, be in prime position to score goals, be in and around the box to take advantage of crosses and through passes that come from the midfield or from the wingers. So Arieri Parabo, he was with Beyond Limits previously. He played very well for Beyond Limits. I think he was part of the team that gained promotion, technically gained promotion to the Nigerian Premier League, but for, I think, some issues, because I think that jointly that's owned by the same management group that owns Remo Stars in the Nigerian Premier Football League. So for some reason, that was not allowed to happen. So, but he is very good. He's gone to Lillestrøm, and I've talked about him before. I've done a reaction video about him. You can check that out as well. So he is a phenomenally talented player. He scored 40-odd goals, and I think the season before he had to leave for Lillestrøm. He's a top talent. Arieri Parabo, that's one player that we should all be on the lookout for. It's a fantastic talent. One thing I like about him is he is all round. He's got the pace, he's got the ability to be active in the box, to get goals, and he also can be involved in link-up play. So for me, he is a fantastic, fantastic talent. Now, the next person I will talk about as well is another player that I've done a reaction video for, you know, on this channel. So you can also check him out. Because for me, I feel he is Nigeria's response to, or rather, Nigeria's answer to Vinny Jr. Now you might say, Vinny Jr., you're exaggerating, you're taking things too far. Now, I'm not saying this player is right now on the same level as Vinicius Jr. Of course, that would be insane to say. That would be completely crazy to say, because Vinny Jr. left Flamingo, was fantastic for them. He went over to Real Madrid, joined them, and now he has built on his career, and you can see the world-class player that he is. But in terms of how they play, in terms of the skill set, not caliber now, not the level at which they play at the minute, but in terms of their ability on the ball, how they play, I think Onyebuchi Obasi is a fantastic talent that we have to talk about. He is a product of Beyond Limit as well. He is currently at Valerenga. So I think he is another talent that we should look at. And for me, I keep wondering, I keep asking myself this question. How on God's green earth did Onyebuchi Obasi not make it into this under-20 team? Because I look at the wingers. It's one thing if you have, better players. Obviously, you can have better players. And then when people watch it, they say, oh my God, Onyebuchi Obasi didn't make it, but this winger in this team, fantastic. But that's not the case with this Nigerian under-20 team. You look at the two wingers, no one impresses you. I don't know if you've been impressed, but I haven't been impressed, certainly. I look at the wingers and I'm like, where is the skill? Where is the pace? Where is the creativity? And I can see it. I can't see it. I don't see it. So that makes me wonder how you have a player like Onyebuchi Obasi with the ability he has on the ball, with the skill he has. Now, this is not Super Eagles. Like you say, Super Eagles is a very, very high level. This is under 20. He should have made it into this team. And he is a fantastic, fantastic talent. Now, before I go on to other players, why am I doing a video like this? No one else will do it. No one else will do it. So if you're waiting for your Sky Sports, your Talk Sports, your CNNs to talk about Nigerian talent, you're wasting your time. I guarantee you, if there's a list made by CNN or made by Eurosport or Sky Sports of 100 people, of 100 top under 20 talents, I guarantee you wouldn't see a Nigerian player. Now, when I mean Nigerian player, I mean a Nigerian player that's eligible to play for Nigeria, that has made the decision to play for Nigeria on that list. You will never see it. The only Nigerian you may see there would be one who has Nigerian heritage, Nigerian parents, but has chosen to play for an European country. That's the truth. So I have to do it, and you have to do it as well. Because if we don't promote our own players, if we don't promote our own people, no one else will. It would be nice to hear Sky Sports talk about Areli Korabo. It would be nice for Talk Sport to talk about Onyebuchi Obasi, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Look at how some people are even talking about a superstar, a well-known player like Victor Osimhen. So that tells you everything you need to know. And then I go to another player. Now, remember, all these players I've mentioned now, they're all mono-nationals. They only have Nigerian nationality. So why they haven't made it into this under-20 AFCON side, for me, I don't understand it. Because this is not a question of, they have to switch. You need time for them to wait, for FIFA to give you clearance, for these players to... No, all mono-nationals. Now, the next player I'll talk about right now is another super exciting player, electrifying pace, and I've talked about him as well. He is Shola Ogundana. He's an exciting player from Remo Stars / Beyond Limits as well again, and he took a very unique route, because usually for Nigerian players, it's you play at a grassroots level and then you make your move to either an Eastern European country and work your way up that way. Or you go to the under 20, under 17 competition, you play, you impress at that level, and then maybe a Man City signs you from there or a Chelsea signs you from there. But what happens is you don't usually see Nigerian players heading to South America. But he did. He's gone to South America and it's been very, very impressive. And some feedback I've been getting from some Flamingo fans is that he's been so impressive that he's probably going to be part of their first team come next season. Now, same question I would ask again. I have to ask this question: how come do we not have Shola Ogundona in this team? How come this under 20 AFCON team is not there? Once again, I'll say this: if we looked at this team and then we saw some exciting wingers, exciting players on the pitch, then you raise your hands up to say, okay, Nigeria is full of amazing talents, So if because we have so many amazingly talented players, not everyone can make it into the team. So these are the amazing talented players we have in this team. So the fact that Shola didn't make it into the team, it doesn't matter. We have the exciting players, but we know that's not the case. You've watched it. If you watch the under 20 AFCON tournament, if you watch it from the first group match till the quarterfinals, you see there's nobody that really gets you off your feet, and that used to be something that under 17s, under 20s, Nigeria used to. We always used to have some exciting players, no matter how the tournament would go, whether Nigeria would win the tournament or would lose the tournament. You always find an exciting, exhilarating player. But for some reason, we don't get that here. So Shola Ogundona, he's another one that, you wonder, why isn't he here? And then now I'll switch lanes a bit, and then I would talk about some dual nationals now. There is this player, I've done a video about him previously, a reaction video. You can check out that video. His name is Nuwa Adedeji Sternberg. He's a teammate at KRC Gang with, recent Nigeria debutant Tolu Arokodare. He's in the same team with him. He's a youngster, I think 19 years thereabout. He's skillful and can play across the attacking line, but I don't think he can play as a striker. No, I don't think he can play as an out-and-out striker. I think he can play as a right winger or a left winger, and then maybe in some special circumstances as a 10. But I know modern day football right now, if you're a winger with the left foot, you like to play, on the right wing and invert onto your left foot. If you're a winger with the right foot, you like to play on the left wing and invert onto your right foot. So I think he would love to play on that, left-hand side, on the left wing. He is yet another exciting player. Like I say, I have to do this. I have to talk about this player. Another exciting player, Nuwa Adedeji Sternberg, plays for KRC Gang. He's an amazingly talented player. Can dribble for days, skill, ability on the ball. Superstar player. Superstar player with superstar potential. He's not yet a superstar at the minute, but he has superstar potential. Now, there's a short video I did, and the question I asked. Yes, everyone talks about Lamine Yamal. Wonderful player, amazingly talented player, gifted player. I give him kudos. I give him all the flowers. He's fantastic. Some people have even dared to compare Lamine Yamal to Pele. Can you imagine? The greatest player of all time, people are comparing Lamine Yamal to him. But the question I asked was this: is he skill for skill? Forget about the level he's at now playing for Barcelona. No. Skill for skill. Is he better than Nuwa Adedeji Sternberg? I don't think so. Skill for skill, just skill for skill. What is skill? How they, and then someone like Onyebunchi Obasi is really better than Onyebunchi Obasi. Skill for skill. Now we're not talking about the platform where he is at playing at Barcelona. We're talking about skill for skill. For me, I don't think he is better. He's taking advantage of the opportunity he's got, which is why you give him kudos, you praise him, because he's taking advantage of the stage he's got at Barcelona, he's taking advantage of the stage he's got at Spain. So do credit to him. Do credit to him, because sometimes you see some young players, they put them on in a top team and they struggle and they just evaporate. So in that regard, you have to give Lamine Yamal his flowers, give him his credit, give him his praise. But skill for skill, is he better than this player? No, he's not. I don't think he is. And that's one thing I talk about. People usually talk about generational talent. this player has generational talent. Sometimes it's more about a generational platform than a generational talent. Now, you see an Argentine, 17 years, is worth 40 million pounds without leaving the Argentine league. While in the Argentine league, he's worth 40 million pounds. But a player, same age, same ability in Nigerian grassroots, may not be even worth 1 million. And it's not because that player isn't as good as that Argentine player. It's because that Argentine player is taking advantage of a generational platform. And the likes of Maradona has created that generational platform for them, because everyone right now wants to feel, let's get a piece of Maradona. Maradona is Argentine, blessed memory. Maradona, blessed memory was Argentine, so skillful. So let's get a piece. We can't get him, but this should be the next best thing. He's new Maradona. The same thing that happens in Brazil. Estevao Willian, he's the new Neymar. And people are saying he's the best talent you've ever seen in his age grade. But by the time Estevao Willian leaves Palmeiras, I guarantee you, not more than a month afterwards, you hear about another player. He's the best player in this age grade that we've ever seen. I guarantee it's going to happen. So that's why in this video, I want to talk about these Nigerian players, top talents. Every day, sometimes I'm like, okay, let me just do a little research. And I discover yet another one. And it blows my mind. Now, another player I want to talk about is Divine Onyemachi. Divine Onyemachi plays for West Brom. He plays for West Brom. He's on the 21 sides. He's another super gifted player. And he is so gifted, he is so skillful. I will ask that question again. How come he's not made it into the team? You can see how I'm going. I've gone for pure Nigerian grassroots players who have, just have Nigerian nationality. They've just been brought up through this Nigerian grassroots and they've move upwards to other clubs outside. I've talked about them, just those ones. How come they've not made it into this under 20 side? Now I'm talking about dual nationals. How come a player like Divine Onyemachi, how come he hasn't made it into this team? Because I want us to understand that Nigeria, we have amazing talent. Because I was watching this under 20 tournament, I kept scratching my head. What is going on? Is it that we don't have talent anymore? And I'm sure some people that don't live and sleep and eat this sort of thing that I do will not even appreciate the fact that we have so many talents. So Divine Onyemachi, another fantastic, talented player. He can play on either wing. Exciting player. Someone says he's the new Ademola Lookman, but I get what the person is trying to mean. A dual national like Ademola Lookman, pacey, skillful, can play on the wing. So I kind of get that, but I think he is a lot different. His style of play is slightly different from Ademola Lookman. And I've done a video about him and another next player I'm about to mention. That is Destiny Elimogale. He is a dual national, eligible to play for Italy and Nigeria. He is still young, very, very young. He's about 15, should be 16 this year. So he's another exciting young player that we should look at. And why I'm using Lamine Yamal as a standard right now is because each time we talk about young players, people say, he's too young. No, he is young, I know. I'm not saying play Super Eagles at 16 years. No. I'm saying for a player that is this exciting, you should be looking to integrate him into the setup. So if he's not playing this under 20, how about the under 17? And it's very important to know about these players heading into the World Cup. Okay, this team, you've qualified for the semi-finals of this under 20 AFCON. You've also qualified for the World Cup. So how does the NFF, how does the Nigerian Football Federation improve this team going forward? So Destiny Elimogale is another exciting talent. Now, we'll keep going. Then we'll talk about Wisdom Mike. Wisdom Mike, he is Magical Mike. That's what I call him. Magical Mike. He's on the books for Bayern Munich, the German champions. I think he's also been in their, Champions League squad. So he is an exciting talent. So for Vincent Company to have him as part of his squad, that should tell you everything you need to know about this player. He's a superstar, talented player. So this goes to tell you that I've mentioned a lot of players right in these 20 minutes or about top players. Now, I'm not saying all of them should play for Nigeria, or all of them must play for Nigeria. It is impossible for you to have 50, 60, 80, players or in and around the same age playing for the Nigerian Super Eagles, playing for the under-20s. But how about you get the bulk of them? Or let's put it this way. How about for the team you're talking about, maybe a 23, 24-man squad, that squad is filled with quality players. How about that? How about that? How about that? So you can't have all this talent and then you look at the team that you're putting forward as your under-17 team, your under-20 team, and it's just bad, filled with poor, mediocre players. Now, I have to say this. Don't you think it's about time? Don't you think it's about time for Nigeria to stop losing out on the top talents? Because the talent Nigeria seems to get that are dual nationals, they always are the ones that England is no longer interested in. Italy doesn't really care about. Spain, and well, it can go where it goes. Then it just falls to Nigeria, and then we use. Now, I keep saying about Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman is a world-class player. World-class. You will never hear me say anything bad about Ademola Lookman. Well, except he does something bad. He's a top talented player. Look at the goals he scored for Atlanta. He's back. He's back among the goals for Atlanta. In this past weekend, he's among the goals for them. So you never hear me say he's not world class. He is a world class player, top player. But the way he got to play for Nigeria is not sustainable. That is, he was seen as this top talent at Charlton. Then he made the move to the Premier League. Signed for was it Everton he signed for, but he made a move to the Premier League, and then he didn't quite work out for him. And then he was loaned to Germany. He didn't work out. He came back to the Premier League. Things didn't quite work out. Then he went to Atlanta, and then things kicked off for him there. And then somehow he landed at the feet of the NFL. Now he's a top class player, but that can't be the strategy. Because if that's your strategy, you keep losing out on top players for sure, 100%. Jamal Musiala lost to Germany for sure. You will miss out on a player like that. If your strategy is to wait for a happy accident, you didn't quite plan it. Whoa, this player is here. The same thing, Michael Olise, same thing. Lost to France because there was no proper strategy to get these people in the building. So you've lost out on that top talent. Bukayo Saka, the same thing. There was no strategy to get these players in the building. Karim Adeyemi, the same thing. So you can't keep losing out on players who are obviously top talents because you don't have any strategy. You can't keep waiting for players to just fall on your lap. You can't be waiting for that. You have to make that move. Now, I'll switch back to players who have single nationality. Daniel Daga, he is 18 years old. He's another one I ask, how come he's not in this team? He is a defensive midfielder. He is a 6. He says he models his game after, N'Golo Kante. And that's something lovely to hear because, we all know N'Golo Kante is the best defensive midfielder in the world. So how come Daniel Daga is not in this team? Once again, he just has Nigerian nationality. So there's no, we have to wait for FIFA or anything. He just has Nigerian nationality. So what was the reason? How come he's not in this team? How come he's not in this team? He went to Moldova. I think he was sold to Moldova, to a Moldovan club, and then the Moldovan club loaned him back to the Eyimba, if I'm not mistaken, and then now he's gone to Molde in Norway. So how come he's not in this team? Once again, I'll say this. If we had looked at this team and there was one amazing midfield general in this under-20 AFCON team that was bossing the midfield, then you say, okay, Daniel Daga, we know you're excited. We know you're an exciting player. We know you're a solid defensive midfielder, but look at this player that is super, super exciting. So what can we do? We can't have everyone in the team. But you look at the team still, you don't see it. You don't see that. And then we have to talk about, we can't do but talk about Francis Onyeka. He's been on spectacular form, for the eighth grade side in Bayer Leverkusen. Then he's also been part of the Champions League team for their senior team. He's another player that is kind of like an Ethan Winery type of player that plays in that 10 role. And that's an area where the Nigerian Super Eagles lack players, where Nigeria lack players. Yeah, Chibuzo. Up Nigeria for sure. So that is the thing. He is another exciting player. How come he's not here? He's an exciting player for sure. He's another one. He's a dual national, obviously, eligible to play for Germany and to play for Nigeria. And then if you go, let's talk about another player in the midfield as well, Victor Eletu. Another young player. How come he's not here? I know what's even funny. Ebenezer Akinsimero, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's still eligible to play under 20. If I just quickly check, Ebenezer Akinsimero is still eligible to play under 20. Okay, he's 20 years old. Yeah. He just slightly missed it out because he's 20 years already. He's another top player that can boss and control the midfield. But I just think he slightly missed this because he is 20 years currently as we speak. So he slightly would miss out on that. And then I have to talk about another player. This is a player that I recently discovered. And that is why I said this. I am just one man. I don't have the resources, that the NFF have. I don't have the resources that the National Sports Commission of Nigeria has. But I'm able to know about these players. I'm able to sort of discover these players. Not discovering them because, I'm the one who spotted them as a talent and made a club to sign them, but at least to bring them to your notice. Emeka Adiele, top wing back, left back. Pacey, powerful, can score goals as well. He is another exciting player that somehow, the way it looks like, Nigeria is going to let him sleep. He is a top talented player. So how are we not integrating these players into the age grade setup? I know if we mention Super Eagles, we'll say, oh, they're too young, they can't come into the Super Eagles. Fair, I understand that one. I get it. But how are we not having these players in the under-17 team, in the under-20 team, in the Olympic team, if and when that team comes around? He is another exciting player. There's a player that Chelsea, have signed. Is it Giovanni Quenda, from Sporting Lisbon, that is 17 years old, and he'll be joining Chelsea 2026, 2027 season. So from next year, and Chelsea have paid a pretty penny for him. Now this Emeka Adiele, he's in the same mold as the player. Now I'm not going to say that, oh, the platform is playing. No. They're similar age range. This Giovanni kid from Portugal is 17. And Emeka Adiele is 17 as well. He plays for West Ham. And keep your eyes peeled on the channel. I'll be doing a video about Emeka Adiele. He is another top player, another top talent, at least another top talent. But the question I keep asking, if I can find out about these players, can you seriously tell me the NFF don't know about these players? No, I'm sure you can't. I think I'll share the video, not the video, but I'll share the picture of Emeka Adiele. He plays for West Ham English side, but not for their senior team, obviously. But he played for the age grade team. For the age grade team. So I'll just share this in a minute. Maker Adiele. So Maker Adiele. You can see he plays for, he plays for West Ham. You can see it here. He plays for West Ham. So as a left back, I'm going to be doing a video reacting to his skills, to his ability on the ball. So he is another top talented player. How come he isn't being recognized, being noticed by the Nigerian Football Federation? How come? I should believe they have scouts all over the world. They have scouts even in Nigeria. How come this player isn't in the team? And then I'll move on to another player, the goalkeeper, Arthur Okonkwo. He has kept 18 clean sheets so far for Wrexham, and it's helped them immensely he's helped them gain promotion to the Championship, which is the second tier of English football, so just right under the Premier League. So he's helped them gain promotion. How come we're not hearing anything happen about the goalkeeper? There's Noah Tubulu as well. How about him? How about him? Noah Tubulu has been fantastic as well, for his team in Germany. How come we're not talking about him? And then, of course, we've got the goalkeeper in this AFCON. I wouldn't say the team has been super impressive, but I would say at least he's been decent. He's been okay. He made those 2 saves in the penalties. So, he's been good. So what is the NFF doing to integrate that player into the national team setup? Or by the time this AFCON is done, we don't hear anything about him anymore. So that's another thing. Ebenezer Harcourt, that presently plays for, in this present AFCON, he's another player to talk about. He's another player to talk about and what's happening with him. And then there's this player I've known for a while. He used to play for Chelsea, but now he used to play for Chelsea and then he went to Anderlecht. And then from Anderlecht, he's now joined Ipswich Town. And I don't know, since they've been relegated, that means they'll have to sell a lot of players. Maybe that means he will get an opportunity to play for them, to play for their first team. And that's another exciting player that we'll have to look at. His name is Tudor Mendel Idowu. They say he's a bit of a genius, not just in footballing terms, but academically as well. So he's another player that we have to look out for. Super exciting players. So how do we have all these players and then we have this under 20 team the way it is? I don't get it. How are we allowing these players slip through our fingers from a Nigerian perspective? How is it happening? And people come up with different excuses. People come up with different reasons. People say, oh, the players are arrogant. Oh, they don't want to play for Nigeria. But the question I ask when people say that is this: are Nigerians the only people that get arrogant? Arrogance is not something that other people feel, or is not a character trait that people from other countries have. Is it just Nigerians that are arrogant? So how come for every dual national that Morocco, the Moroccan FA has spoken to, has opted to play for Algeria? How does that happen? For every player that the Algerian national side has spoken to, that's chosen to play for Algeria, how has that happened? When Congo does the same thing, the player chooses to play for them. So how come that happens? So is it that Nigerians are just the only people on the face of the earth that are arrogant, and then every other person on the face of the earth are, the bastions of humility? No, it is because the Nigerian Football Federation have not done the needful. They have not done the needful. And they have this thing where they deceive, they deceive us. All these players are so arrogant. We're not going to beg anybody to play for Nigeria. Nigeria is a great country. The Super Eagles is a big brand, so we are not going to beg anybody. And people take that as gospel. Wow, how can this player want us to beg him? We cannot beg him. No. I ask again, other countries that get their dual nationals to play for them, how do they do it? And are those players not arrogant? Are those players not arrogant? Is it just Nigerians that are arrogant? So that doesn't make sense. So how come we've not been able to get these players as well? And then speaking about players, Josh Ajala, he is, a teammate of Emeka Diele. He is another fantastic talented player. He is a striker. He's a number 9, but he's got a lot of skills as well. They play in the same age grade team for West Ham. He used to be at Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, Chelsea's academy, and then he moved on to, West Ham. He's another exciting player. So, like I said again, I'm not saying everyone should play for the Nigerian Super Eagles or everyone should play for Nigeria. But how come we can't get the top quality players? How come? How come? How come these players slip through our hands every time? We let these top players slip through our hands. Why? So Joshua Jala, he is another top player. We need to keep our eyes out on for. And then another player I have to talk about is Abube Onuchuku. Abube Onuchuku, he was linked to. He said that there are solid reports that he has switched his national team allegiance to the Nigerian Super Eagles, and there was talk of him also, being that he would be part of this under 20 squad, and I was excited to see more of him. But lo and behold, Nigeria happened. He's nowhere to be seen. He's nowhere to be seen. And I'll be doing a video about Ipswich Town because Ipswich Town, they have, a strong Nigerian contingent in their age grade team. So I'll be doing a video on them, spotlighting those players, so we'll all have a discussion, about those players. Now, and that's the thing that I want to point out. You see, because each time we talk about dual national, they say arrogance. But Abube Onuchuku has said, okay, I want to play for Nigeria. So what happened? How come, he hasn't played for Nigeria? Another player that, we've had sort of reports that he has chosen to play for Nigeria is a player that people say, that some reports say he is the cousin of the African Footballer of the Year with Ademola Lookman. I'm not quite sure. I have to confirm those reports. His name is Hakim Bakari. He's just joined Middlesbrough. He's a young player, 19 years old as well. So let's see what the NFF will do. Because if players are beginning to say they want to play for Nigeria, then that means the NFF, the ball is entirely in your court. You have no excuses to make. The ball is entirely in your court. You can't hide away from it. You can't start giving us those tales you've been giving us. Oh, player doesn't want to play. No, those ones want to play. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, speaking about players wanting to play or not wanting to play, there is a player that's been on fantastic form, for Genk in Belgium. The Genk Jong, that is their academy side. Umar Abubakar. Umar Abubakar, another exciting player that was meant to be part of this team because the striker is got loads and loads of goals, meant to be part of this team, and he is not there. So how did that happen? Why did that happen? But that aside, it has happened already. So would he become part of this AFCON, part of the under-20 side that will go to the World Cup? He's another player that should be looked at. And this list I'm making, or these names I'm calling, like you see, I'm not just talking about, dual nationals. He likes to talk about dual nationals all the time. He doesn't want to talk about players who are grassroots, who have come from grassroots. These players have Umar Abubakar has come from grassroots. His teammate as well, Umar Abdullahi as well, has come from Nigerian grassroots, and they're both playing for KRC Genk Jong. So, how come we've not seen anything about these players? Exciting players. So, we're heading close to the hour mark. I've been talking about top level, exciting talent that can be part of the Nigerian setup. Promise Melega as well. He used to be a teammate of Onyebuchi Obasi and Areri Kwarabo. So he is going to now be a teammate as well of Onyebuchi Obasi and Valarenga because he'll be joining them as well. So he's another exciting one. Another one that makes me ask, how come he's not there? So why I'm mentioning these players is this. Both dual nationals and players with just Nigerian nationality is to say the talent pool of Nigeria is too deep and the excuses of the NFF, doesn't hold any water. It's like a basket. The excuses the NFF are giving right now is just like a basket. It can't hold any water because these players, some have said, like Abu Onuchukwu said, I want to play for Nigeria. What has the NFF done? Hazim Bakare reportedly wants to play for Nigeria. What has the NFF done? Okay, Umar Abubakar he just has Nigerian nationality, so how come he's not involved yet? Onyebuchi Obasi is just Nigerian nationality. How come he's not involved in the Nigerian setup yet? So these are the things we have to take into consideration. These are the questions that we need to ask. Like I said, imagine me. I definitely don't have the resources of the NFF. If I'm able to spot these players, then they should be able to spot these players as well. And it's come at this time, it's high time for the NFF and other Nigerian, football administrators to begin to do the right thing. I'm not going to spill the beans on anybody, but when you look at this AFCON under 20 side, look at them really close and ask yourself, are these players meant to be in this team? Are they meant to be in this under 20 side? Ask that question. When you look at them, I said there was a video of was it Jeff or so, I think that's his name. When he got tackled, he was on the floor. The camera panned to him and then moved away. I started to laugh. I was laughing, and I'm sure you know why I was laughing. I was laughing. I was like, my God, I thought we've gone past this. And each time you say that, someone that thinks supporting Nigeria means you support everything that happens, good, bad, and indifferent, would show you the picture of Ethan Waneri, but you believe that Ethan Waneri is 18 years old. What are you talking about? Once you look at him, you know he's a young player. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you that Ethan Waneri is a young player. You don't need anyone to tell you that. So stop supporting things that are wrong. It doesn't make you a patriotic Nigerian when you support things that are not good. Instead, you put the country in a bad light. And one thing people don't get is under 17, under 20, yes, you want to win because that's the primary, sort of aim of any sport, football especially. Winning is the key thing. You want to win. But the second side of it is you want to develop players. So when you have players in the team that they've already got to their point of development, they've hit certain level of development. So why are they in that team? What benefit would they be to Nigeria in the next 2 to 3 years? Permit me to digress a bit. I don't know if you remember Macaulay Crisantos. He was meant to be Victor Osimhen before Victor Osimhen became Victor Osimhen, if you get what I mean. Macaulay Crisantos, he was meant to be that guy. And indeed, in that under-17 tournament, he was scoring goals for fun. But when you look at him, you just know, bros, you're not supposed to be here. You know. Igamara that the guy was not meant to be there. The moment you just looked at him, you just know, nah, he's not meant to be. He was scoring goals for fun. It was lovely for everybody. He was meant to be that guy. He went to Hamburg, struggle. He went to other clubs, struggle. Now, where is his career? Nowhere. So and I thought something Siasia, at least Nigeria under something Siasia, had begun to move away from, those sort of things. When you look at Mikel Obi now. Mikel Obi, he's 38 years old, and he looks like he can still step on the pitch and play. Whether you like his opinion, you don't like his opinion, whether you like his Obi-Wan podcast or you don't like the Obi-Wan podcast, but just look at him, be fair. Look at him, be objective. Look at Mikel Obi, right? And then, even when the Chelsea legend had the game versus Liverpool legends, you see him, he looks like someone that can actually go on to play. Whether or not he can do that, but he still looks fit enough to play. You can see he looks young still. So why do we have to go to those lengths when you can get genuinely gifted, talented players that meet the required benchmarks? So why? And when I say this, it's not just for dual nationals who are born abroad. Even players in the country. Look at Eric Parabo. One look at him, you're meant to be here. Look at Promise Meliga. One look at him, you know, yeah, nah, this, oh, Umuaka, this is a small child. He's meant to be here. Simple. You look at him, you know, when you put your Bassi, you look at him, you know, this is a kid. This is a kid. He's meant to be here. You know, so why do we have to go to the length of, you know, digging into, you know, having players on the pitch that are not meant to be there, and to even be even more embarrassing is, despite the fact that you're having players that are not meant to be there, you're not dominating any of the games. You're not dominating the games. You know, you're not, you know, putting teams to the sword. You're not beating teams blue and black. No, you're still struggling. So what's the point? And then you defeat the main purpose of this age grade competition, which is development of players. That's meant to be the main aim, development of players. And then, of course, let's switch back to the main thing we're talking about, which is top under 21 talents that are eligible to play for Nigeria, whether dual nationals or singular nationalities. Then we have to talk about Tyreek George. Tyreek George, you can see what he's doing already. He used to be play for the under 17, play for under 18s of Chelsea, and then under 21 for Chelsea as well. He's always been fantastic for them. Always been a top talent, top prospect, highly rated by the coaches at Chelsea. You know, coaches at Akubam, highly rated. You know, he's eligible for England and for Nigeria. You know, he is Nigerian. Someone said I should confirm. Don't worry, I know. Tyreek George is Nigerian. Don't argue with me. Don't argue that one. I know he's Nigerian. You know, so he is eligible to play for Nigeria and England. So he has come up in leaps and bounds this season. Kudos to Enzo Maresca for that. He's come up in leaps and bounds, and he's played in European competition, the Conference League, and been fantastic for them as well, and played in the Premier League, and hasn't looked out of place, because for a young player, when you start playing for the first team or a senior team, the one thing, the highest credit you can get is you came on and didn't look out of place. You didn't look like you were, you know, a deer or rabbit in headlights. You actually looked like you belonged. You played like you belonged. You were not, you did not cower in the environment. You know, on the big stage, you played well, and he's been playing, not just playing well, he has been fantastic when he's come on the pitch. So he is 19 years old, and he is someone that he is eligible to play for Nigerian Super Eagles. He is eligible. He is eligible. You know, he is eligible. And let's not do the age thing, because each time you talk about any player that's eligible to play for Nigeria that is maybe 18 or 19, and say, okay, this guy can contribute to Super Eagles one way or the other. What you get is, oh, he's not Lamine Yamal. He's not Lamine Yamal. Of course, he's not Lamine Yamal. We know. Lamine Yamal is Spanish. He's playing for Spain. We know Tyreek George is not him. But when you look at Tyreek George, you know he can contribute, because he's doing it against men. He's doing it against mortgage-paying men. He's doing it against men with families, men that pay taxes. He's doing it against them on the pitch. So that means he can also do it for Nigeria if the Nigerian Football Federation do the needful. If the Nigerian Football Federation do the needful. A lot of these players want to play for Nigeria. Don't let anyone deceive you and lie to you. Oh, these players are arrogant. And don't believe their minions, because the NFF, they have their minions. You know, they have, you know, these some supposedly high-level journalists that will always support the nonsense they do. There's one I know, I won't call his name, you know. In fact, I don't even interact with whatever he puts on X anymore. You know, they'll come up and say, oh, this player is arrogant, we don't want him in the team. Well, we don't want him in the team. How do you know he's arrogant? Have you met that player one-on-one? Have you had any discussion with that player? You know, so top level talent, Tyreek George, he can play on either side, right wing, left wing. Although he has had moments where he's played through the middle for Chelsea, I don't think he's an actual striker. He's not. And even if he's an actual striker, I don't think that's where he should play for Nigeria. If he plays for Nigeria, because that striking position is covered for the next 5 to 6 years. We've got Victor Osimhen there, of course, Victor Boniface, of course, George Lenny-Kenna, of course. You know, you've got Victor Latunji, you know, so Tola Rokodare. So you have that number 9 position is gone. But Tariq George, top level player, I think can contribute to the Nigerian Super Eagles because he is now playing above his age. He's now playing above his age. So I think he's someone that can contribute. He's another one you ask, how come he's not there? How come he's not there? How come he hasn't played yet for, Nigerian Super Eagles? Or at least how come we haven't had that nationality switch done yet? How come? And I think at this point, before I go on to talk about other players, it's important to point out what Chuba Akpom said. There was a video I did reacting to an interview done by Omar Katoba, top class content creator and journalist. He usually covers the Bundesliga. I think he's a Barcelona fan, involved in the Real Madrid Barcelona banter. So, but top interview he did with Felix Argo, where he said, with Chuba Akpom rather, where Chuba Akpom said, since 2019, he has switched his allegiance to play for Nigeria. Since 2019, and this is 2025, he hasn't made his debut yet. But someone will step up and tell you, oh, these players are arrogant. They think because they are born overseas, they are better than everyone. But he's done a nationality switch. So, and one thing he said is that the NFF doesn't you really have that connection with these players. They don't build that link, which is super, super important. They don't build that link. So it's important for those links, those connections to be made. And I said it before, I've offered my services for free. I said, if you really genuinely want a player, genuinely want a player, English, that has English nationality, Nigerian nationality, genuinely, it's not the one that, okay, if the player wants to play for you, oh, give us 2 naira or give us signed jersey. No. You genuinely want the player to play for Nigeria for free. I'll talk to the player. Don't worry. Free. I'm talking about you genuinely want the player. So people should stop believing those lies. So John Lenny Kenna for sure. And then there's another player. He used to be, Chelsea, and he then moved on to Liverpool. Although he's made the bench for Liverpool senior team in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, if I'm not mistaken. His name is Rio Ngoma Adigun. So you can see, when you see the Adigun at the end, you know he is eligible to play for Nigeria. He is another exciting talent that, when I close my eyes, I just say, wow, can you imagine if Rio was in this under-17 side? Wow. The enjoyment that Areri Korabo would have had. Service. Imagine you put your bats in this team with Divine Oyemachi in this team, with Rio Adego in the 10. Look at the enjoyment, the amount of chances that will be created for Areri Korabo in this, in this under 20 AFCON. He would have been overfed in footballing terms. For whatever reason, the NFF has chosen not to do the needful. For whatever reason. And I'll say this again. Your strategy cannot be an accident. Your strategy cannot be accident. It cannot be, oh, this player, it wasn't looking like he was going to play, but last minute he chose to play for Nigeria. You must be intentional. You must have that pure intention about getting these players, convincing these players, to play for the Nigerian Super Eagles. You must do that, or else you're not going to get them. Because I've said it before, that when it comes to international football, usually players don't have a choice. That's usually players don't have a choice. So whichever country you're born as in you're eligible to play for, you play for. Whether they invite you or they don't invite you, you're stuck there. You have to remain there. If they choose to invite you, yes. If they don't choose to invite you, you rot, in the building of your club. But every now and again, when you have dual nationals, they now have choice. They now have choice to play for, or maybe England, play for Nigeria, or to play for, Spain, or to play for Congo, to play for Portugal, or to play for Cape Verde. They now have this choice. They now have this choice. So, what happens when an individual has choice in any endeavor of life? If you want the player, you have to go on try to convince this player. It's just like a man that he you want to get married, you want to get into a relationship, you see a beautiful girl. That beautiful lady would always have other people who are interested in her. That's the truth. She would always have other people who are interested in her. She will have friends in the friend zone. She'll have, guys that have money that want to, enthrall her with their wealth. And then you're there. You can't just sit down and say, okay, if she wants me, and she should come and sit in front of me. No. Then she has choice. If you want to be with her, you have to go and speak to her, tell her, I love you, whatever thing you want to say, to convince her to, to be in a relationship with you. Same thing. So, and maybe she likes you, but you are not going to speak with her. You haven't spoken with her, so she's not going to ask herself out. Same thing. These players with dual nationality. You can't just say, he's arrogant. Have you spoken with him? Have you spoken with the player? Like, have you gone and actually had a discussion with the player, and then the player said, no, I don't want to play for Nigeria? Of course, you have people like Kevin Shada who have come out to say he's not going to play for Nigeria. And that's fine. See, as he said that, okay, go on and play for Germany, but don't come back if they dump you after 5 games. You've chosen to play for them, stick with them. You've come out to say you feel more German than Nigerian. He said that. He's come out to say that he feels more German than Nigerian, or like he knows his father is Nigerian, but he feels more German than he is Nigerian. And when you look at his surname, his father is Nigerian. I don't know any Nigerian that goes by Shada as a surname. So that tells you everything. So for people like that, okay, hands off. Wish you every good thing you get playing for Germany. That's fine. But for the others, have you gone out to speak to these players? Have you gone out to speak to these players? So that's that's things that we have to understand. We have to take into consideration. And speaking about taking into consideration, there is another player that Nigeria would have to look at and make sure what is happening with Samu Agehowa Omorojan doesn't happen, because Samu Agehowa Omorojan, obviously from the name he's eligible to play for Nigeria, but he's already been involved in the Spanish senior national team. I don't know if he's played the number of games that would mean that he's cap tied to Spain, but he's another player, and he gave a subtle hint as to how you get him to play for Nigeria. He gave a subtle hint. And if the NFF were really serious about him, they would have latched on it. He said his mom. He gave you the hint. And if the NFF were serious, were genuine in their intention, we got him. But I think he's off the books, even if I don't think he's played in the requisite amount of games to play to be cap tied. But at the way it's going, I don't think he will play for Nigeria. So there's David Otobi for Valencia. He's highly rated, 17 years old, 16 years old, play for the under 17 side, sub 17 as they call it in Spain, for Valencia. So what is the NFF doing? He's another exciting talent. And once again, all these names I've mentioned is not just to say, dual nationals, only the ones born abroad. Even the ones I've mentioned earlier in the video, Victor Eletu, Daniel Daga, Areri Korabo, Daniel Daga, Victor Eletu, Onyebuchi Obasi, Promise Meliga, Shola Ogundona, Umar Abubakar, Umar Abdullahi. So what have been done to integrate these people, not just say must be in the Super Eagles, but in this Nigerian national team setup from under 17 to under 23s to Super Eagles? What has been done to integrate these players? And they can't say they don't know. If I, with my meager resources, can know about all these players, so how come the NFL will say they don't know? They know about these players, but they just think it's not needed, because right now they're not thinking about winning. And all the excuses people give, this player is arrogant, doesn't hold water anymore. They don't want to play for the African country. People like Congo are showing that that's a lie. People like Morocco are showing that that's a lie. People like Algeria are showing that that's a lie. So it doesn't hold water anymore. And then when people like Chuba Akpom come up to give interviews and say, look, I wanted to play, I switched my nationality to Nigeria, almost 10 years ago, 2019. 2019. 2019. And nothing has been done by the NFF. Okay, Josh Maja plays for West Brom. I know he's above the age threshold I'm talking about, but he just had one cap, and then one cap, he didn't play well, and that's it. But we are seeing elders, chairman of elders council, are getting multiple opportunities. Super Eagles, so top players. There's Goodman, he's a goalkeeper, but there's conflicting reports that he wants to play for England. So we have all these conflicting reports. So we'll definitely get something concrete and bring that to you as well. And then let's switch back to players that we're talking about. Somto Boniface is another exciting left back / left wing back, and I think because we have to look at that left back position, because right now what we have is Bruno Yemachi and no other person behind him that can do what he does. Although Felix Agu is someone that everyone were hoping and praying that he chooses, that he is indeed invited to play for Nigeria, because it's not a matter of choosing anymore. He has said it. He has put it in the air. In an interview, he's come up to say that he wants to play for Nigeria. So that one is clear. So Felix Agu is clear. So, but right now we have Bruno Yemachi. So that means, the second choice left back is an issue. Right now, it's just Bruno Yemachi. And having to play Olaina at left back that Eric Chell did, for me, is just silly. It's silly, in my opinion. But anyways, right now, there is Somto Chukwu Boniface. He used to be at Chelsea. He's joined Ipswich Town age grade side. So he's another exciting one to look out for. I think his teammates with Tudor Mendel-Idowu. So they're teammates now. They used to be teammates at Chelsea. Now they're teammates at Ipswich Town. So that's another top talent to look out for. And then there's another one. He's eligible for Ireland and to play for Nigeria as well. He is Adaramola. He's actually on the books of Crystal Palace, the Premier League side, but he's on loan. He was sent out on loan to Bradford City. So he's helped them gain promotion to League One, I think. So he's another one to keep an eye out on. Another exciting under 21 talent to look out for, to fill those needs in the team, not just under 17, 20 Super Eagles as well. I'm not just saying under 20, Super Eagles. No, but let them be part of the football ecosystem and not just dual nationals, even people with only Nigerian citizenship as well, that have this talent, that have the ability, that are of the right age. Look at the players we've talked about. Exciting, talented players. There's Owen Emmanuel as well, that plays for Bayer Leverkusen. I think he's teammates with Francis Onyeka. They play for the same team. So another exciting player to look out for. So top level talents we have everywhere in the Nigerian grassroots playing, like Merville and dual nationals as well, all over the world. All over the world. So you can't just keep saying, this one doesn't want to play for Nigeria. No, we have players everywhere. And the only way that excuse would even make any sense would be if all the ones developed in Nigeria, within Nigeria, have been integrated in the under 17, under 20, and you say, okay, look at these ones here. They're single nationals. They have been invited, but that's not the case. Look at it on the 20 side. Look at it. I've mentioned names that have only Nigerian nationality that should have been in this team. They're not there. And look at the team, it's not good enough. I can say that, and you understand that. Just permit me a second to digress a bit. Since Nigeria is going to be playing, South Africa in the semi-final, Nigeria should be very vigilant. There's something that happened in that game. I think, should I do a video about that? But probably I'll do a video about that. But there's something that happened in that game that the officials allowed to go unpunished, did not did not cancel the South African goal. Usually, when a goal is to be taken, the ball has to be kept, on that line in the 18-yard box. On that line in front of, just squared in front of the goalpost. What happened is the goalkeeper just picked the ball, threw the ball, and just kicked it. Nobody stopped anything. Counter attack, goal. And then Congo's out of the tournament, and Congo missed out on the chance on their chance to qualify to qualify for the first time for the World Cup via qualifying for the semi-finals. So this under 20 side, it's not all about boom, which they've been doing, get the ball, and shoot it into the sky. No, you have to be vigilant because we have seen in this tournament that VAR can come in at any time, or sometimes it will not even be involved in obvious things. And South Africa, somehow, some way, robbed Congo. Now, the Congolese side were very wasteful. They were very wasteful. Because in my opinion, they were the better side. But they were still very, very wasteful, in my humble opinion. But the goal South Africa scored should have been chopped off, should have been cancelled, because the ball wasn't kept on a proper place, on a proper position. Usually, the referee would say, retake it. But for whatever reason, the referee ignored it. So, going to play the South African side, you have to be super vigilant and you have to take your chances. You have to take your chances. And the way the South African side play, they are compact and they hit you on the break. That's what they do. Defend deep, hit you on the break. So since you're going to play them, you have to be vigilant. You have to be, very precise with your passing, because throughout this under 20 AFCON tournament, the on the 20 side, the Flying Eagles, their passes, they have very poor pass completion. This is not talking about stats or anything. Just watch the game. You see how the passes go. 2 shots. You see a man close by, the pass is made. He just stops here. The passes are not accurate enough. They're not completing their passes. And for a side like South Africa that plays, with a deep block and hits on the counter attack, then that presents an issue for you. Because if you play those inaccurate passes, they latch onto them, hit you on the break, you're in a world of trouble. You're in a world of trouble. And from that game versus Congo yesterday, From that game versus Congo yesterday, it was super clear. It became super clear to me that certain decisions that are clear to everyone, to every man and his dog, will not be given, may not be given. And you don't want to be on the end of a poor decision. Because I was watching the game. The goalkeeper, the Congolese forward, took his shot. He went out. The goalkeeper just picked it, threw it, and kicked it. I don't even think the referee blew anything. He just threw the ball, kicked it. Next thing we know, South Africa's on the counter attack. They cross the ball in, goal. And that was after Congo was denied a penalty. I think it was a soft one, but it was actually a penalty. In my opinion, it was soft. The South African player pulled on the shirt of the Congolese player, and that should have been a penalty, but didn't get the penalty, and then got that goal awarded against them. That, in my opinion, shouldn't have been awarded against them because the ball wasn't put in the proper place, in my opinion. So going into play this team, eyes will always be on the ball, more be vigilant, more be very alert, And I don't know how this team can improve, because sometimes, if you don't have the quality, it's difficult for you to improve going into the next game. Just like me, I've grown to the height I'll be. You can't tell me, oh, we want you to be 7 feet. I want you to be 7 feet tall. Well, I'm done with my growing. I don't think I can get to 7 feet. So no matter what you want, if you say, oh, we want you to play basketball now, you have to be 7 feet. How can we make you 7 feet? It can't happen. That's not going to happen. So same thing with this. That's the fear I have with this team. Quality-wise, it's poor. Overall quality of the team is poor, and the overall quality of the coaching has been poor, less than poor. And I'll say this again: can we stop using national team as a compensation package for friends, brothers, ex-players? Can we stop? Just focus on winning, and that focusing on winning is at the heart of this video that I'm doing today. Talking about this top level under 20 talents, under 21 talents. Because if your focus is on winning, then the players that I've mentioned, or players in similar players, will be the players you would invite, as opposed to the players in this team. Now you can see what about football is you can't deceive football. You can deceive me. You can also be deceived to say, oh, these are the best players we have. But when it comes to game day, when it comes to match day, and the players step on the pitch, you can't deceive anybody again. Then they're on the pitch, their flaws will begin to show, their inadequacies will begin to show. So, what do you then do? Now, there's a player I mentioned before we end this video. There's a player I mentioned, Emeka Jele. I'll be doing a video reacting to some of his skills, abilities, his goals as well. And I mentioned he is a left back slash left wing back, attack minded, a left back at that. And since Nigeria always seems to have issues with having those left-sided defenders, especially left backs, I think he's someone that you should be looking at. I'm not saying immediately have him in Super Eagles, but make him part of the setup. Whether it's part of under 20, let him be part of the setup. Because this World Cup that this team has qualified for presents a unique opportunity for this player to be part of it. And if the NFL have their heads on right, this Unity Cup presents a unique opportunity as well. Presents a super unique opportunity. Now, before this video ends, I must talk about one player. I must talk about him. It seems like he is older than 21 because he's been playing a lot of games for the Arsenal first team, but he's still under 21. He's still 17, 18. And that's Ethan Waneri. Obviously amazingly talented player. I've done a video reacting to him as well. Tenacity. He has tenacity, to win balls. He is very creative on the ball, skillful on the ball, can go line past players, and has an eye for goal with his amazing left foot. So that's another player that I think can be he and alongside Tariq George are players that though they're 18 years old, though they're still very young, they can contribute to the Super Eagles for sure. And when you talk about him, people come with the usual saying, be Lamine Yamal. No, it doesn't have to be Lamine Yamal. It doesn't have to be Lamine Yamal. For me, if a player is playing well, he's gone to the top level to play men's football and has shown that, yes, I can play with men, then there shouldn't be any excuse having him to be part of the team. Now, Estevao William is a young kid as well, but he's shown that he can play first team football for Palmeiras in Brazil, and now he's playing. He's part of the Brazil senior national team setup. And next year he'll be joining Chelsea. Next season he'll be joining Chelsea. So the same thing should apply to Ethan Waneri. He's shown that he can play Champions League football with men. He can play Premier League football with men. So he should be integrated into the Nigerian setup. Although now, for some reason, I think Arsenal, he hasn't been featuring for Arsenal. And I have a slight feeling. You might say I'm talking about conspiracy theories or whatever, but I have a feeling that I can't seem to shake. I've tried to shake this feeling, but I can't seem to shake it. And what is it? I think he is contemplating playing for Nigeria. That's what I think. I think he is contemplating playing for Nigeria, and that has not sat well with Arsenal. Because you see some games, you can't quite understand what's happening. The game is going on, Arsenal is struggling, you have Ethan Waneri on the bench, you don't bring him on. Like, it doesn't make sense. But you have Skelly, I think that's his name, the other youngster that Waneri made his debut before, now has game time. When he doesn't have a red card, he always plays. So what is happening? I have this feeling, and I've said it before. There's an academy player that has told me this before. He said, if you're a dual national and you're making it clear and obvious that you don't want to play for England, that you want to play for your African country, it usually doesn't go that well. So initially, I put that off. I said, "Oh, well, come on, this player just making an excuse, because you've not made it into the senior team of the senior team of your club. You're making these excuses." But thinking about it now, it begins to make sense, because if you're an Arsenal fan watching this, make this make sense. Ethan Waneri, he has proven he can play Champions League. He has proven he can play Premier League. In some games, you see Arsenal struggling, needing goals, like the PSG game, needing goals. You keep him on the bench. Why is that? Is there any reason? Is there any other reason you can give, to make it make sense? I don't see any reason I can give. So Ethan Nwaneri is another one for me. I feel he can really, really contribute to Nigeria Super Eagles. And what's more important is that he plays in that unique role where Nigeria doesn't really create or produce players in that area. Now, for wing backs, Nigeria always produces wing backs, full backs, strikers, central defenders, central midfielders, always. But when it comes to that creative number 10 behind the striker that can dribble, create passes, make passes, create goals for their teammates, score goals themselves from that 10 role, not so much. Not so much. So he is someone I think should be got to play. And if the NFF had their head on right, this Unity Cup would have been an opportunity to have these players play. Get them integrated in the national team setup. Well, let's see what happens. The Unity Cup will be coming up later on this month. Hopefully, I'll be there at the stadium, and I'll share some content with you guys. And then let's see how that goes. So, I want to say big thank you to everyone that been faithful to the channel. You stayed from beginning to the end of this video, or you just joined me stream. Thank you so much. Hope you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do share this video to people you feel would love to watch this sort of content as well. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this video as well. Say big thank you to you and everyone for your support. And very, very soon, this channel I know will be one of the biggest football communities on YouTube, maybe on Facebook as well. And we can do a lot of good with the channel. So I want to thank you all. Say do have a splendid rest of your evening.